Search data by Linus, and of course Arthur sued Linus, and next thing you know, Barron, which is one of the big economic journals that comes out weekly, had a story entitled Of Mice and Men, where Arthur Robinson was suing Linus for $10 million. I have all of that in Survival, all the extracts from all these little things, but isolates do not work. Whole foods do. My grandmother, as I said, bedridden with Alzheimer's disease. I approached her. Interestingly enough, my mother called Hippocrates and says, "Victor, you are doing nothing with your life. Why don't you come on home?" That's the attitude people had. You were crazy. You were a nut to get involved with any of this stuff. Here I was doing it for 7 years. Just come on home and take care of grandmother. She raised you. And well, of course, I went home. You know, you don't say no to mother or grandmother. So I went home and I took care of Granny. I gave her all the medications because that's what my mother told me to do. I fed the foods that my grandmother loved, and she continued to be bedridden, getting more and more constipated, even to the point where I gave her one time an enema in the bathroom. My God, explosion. It took me 3 hours to clean up that segment of space. But Granny was going down, and I thought, you know, I'll take her to a holistic doctor, MD. If an MD says something, maybe my mother will listen. I took her to the MD, and he pulled out over a pile of pills. He says, "This will help." He says, "How much?" He says, "Oh, around $600–700. I says, "I don't have that kind of money." I said, can we just start off with 1 or 2? So he says, "Well, take these 2." So I take them home and I give it to my Granny. My Granny goes in a coma. It took me like 2 hours of auric massage and Reiki massage to bring her back to life. Oh, I says, I better not touch any of this stuff. This is dangerous. Well, I couldn't hold on, so I started praying, and God gave me, they say, you ask and pray fervently and single-mindedly, and the answers will come. And it did. I said, you know, basically in life, the issues come down to, number 1 is Granny is constipated, so we got to loosen up her bowels. So I gave her a mild herbal laxative. My grandmother was totally enzymatically exhausted. There was that big deep crease on the tongue that you can see in physiognomy in my book Survival. I says, well, she needs enzymes. I'm not going to change her diet because she refuses to eat anything healthy. Then I said, then we had a couple of strokes, heart attacks in the household, and each time I revived her with a teaspoon of cayenne. So we were able to give her a little bit of cayenne in capsules. And then Victor Coleman, at that time a researcher, started propagating the idea that blue green algae will cure Alzheimer's disease. Some years later, Gabriel Cousins. See, I almost had a little, when I mentioned the word Alzheimer's, it just put me in that kind of state. You got to watch those words you choose to work with. So, anyways, Gabriel Cousins published in a medical journal his results, and he was able, at low dosages, was able to see improvements and also see basically slow down of the progress of Alzheimer's disease. So he was positive. However, Victor Coleman claimed that you could actually reverse it. As a matter of fact, he went around saying that, and his business was closed by the FDA, and he had to retire. But I heard that message, and I managed to get some blue-green algae, now being marketed under another umbrella, which became later on Simplexity, was called Celtic, by the brother. This brother kept his mouth shut. He never sat around and do anything, and people would go around saying, well, this is what it did for me, and that's okay to say. In other words, it creates stories of inspiration, anecdotal report. There were half a dozen people with Alzheimer's disease that had good results. So I put my Granny on these superfoods. 4 weeks go by, no change. By 5th week, one morning, my mother, who used to get up at 1 o'clock in the morning to go to work in a bakery that she managed, she gets up and her breakfast is already prepared. There's bacon and eggs, scrambled eggs, there's toast. I don't want any of you to think that that was part of the therapy program. And a cup of coffee, the toast was nicely burned, and my grandmother was serving breakfast. My mother thought she was hallucinating because no one expected my granny ever to get out of bed, never mind to be coherently enough to be able to prepare breakfast. My granny was around for another 3 or 4 years, I don't remember well, and totally incoherent fashion, as long as she took the supplements. If she ended up neglecting herself, then she regressed to Alzheimer's disease. But we've seen the most unbelievable stories of all kind of individuals. Matter of fact, to the point where there was a paper in a pre-published at University of Illinois Medical School entitled 200 cases of incurables treated successfully with superfoods. The consequence of that included, like, emphysema, a woman who 15 years of being on meds and an oxygen unit, within 4 months was able to get off all meds, all oxygen unit, go out climbing mountains. That is how basic it is. The thing is, even in athletics, more and more athletes are utilizing especially enzymes for decreasing the tissue damage due to the trauma of sport participation. Also, much faster recovery. Research is published in medical journals, and summaries can be found in a medical book written by 3 MDs, Mielke, Lopez, and Williams, entitled Enzymes, the Fountain of Life, which you can get it anywhere on Amazon. And also, they summarize that it reduced the recovery from twisted ankles and other sport-related injuries by up to 85%. They've done studies. Even a football team had the team for 2 years on enzymes. The consequence, they reduced bench time by over 50%. That means big money, because whenever a great athletic name gets injured for a week, 2 weeks, and they can't have them on the field, guess what? The sport arena attendance drops, reduced cash flow. And they've given this guy maybe $5 million to be active, but he can't because of injuries. So enzymes are becoming a very great cure-all in enzymatic approach toward sports-related injuries. I fell one time, badly injuring myself, twisted this thumb, and I managed to heal myself with contact healing. That's found on page 168.